Welcome to the Money and Flow podcast, where avocado toast and stock meet. Did you know that women and women of color don't talk that much about money? And did you also know that the health and wellness community is a $600 billion industry? And did you know that there aren't that many women in the forefront of decision making when it comes to health and wealth? We're here to change that. This is the first podcast that focuses on money and wellness. We want women to say Nama stop to Nama yes. And without further ado, your host, Eugenie George. Right. Hello. Welcome to the Money and Flow podcast. And I am Eugenie George. I'm so excited that you're here. This is the 5th time that I've recorded this particular podcast. It is because I wasn't feeling it at first. I wasn't in my flow. I was not a happy camper. It got a little hot in my room. That's where I'm recording, not in a live studio audience. And I was feeling a little defeated. So I played a couple of Cardi B songs and now I feel great. I feel like I'm about to make some money moves. I feel like I'm about to help some people make money moves. And it just so happens that today that's what we're going to talk about. Y'all, let me explain this to you. The past 3 months, I have been on a very serious Instagram stalk with Cardi B. And the reason behind that is because I've noticed that Cardi B has been a money mentor. So today we're going to talk about how she is this money mentor, how you can learn tips from her, how I learned tips from her, how I wish I learned how to twerk, but man, I don't know how to. Let me talk. Let's dig into it. All right. So for the past 3 months, I just said it, I've been following Cardi B's money tips. Okay. She's had a lot of money moves, but here are the couple of money moves that I personally love. So one of them is she has a crazy work ethic. I have always seen her in her Instagram feed talking about how she has to work. It seems like she's always recording, even when she was pregnant. Okay. She is young, 25. When you're 25, I remember those phases. I was very hungry, and I get it. Like, you have to work to achieve a goal. I think that when Cardi B started out, she might have not have been the best businesswoman, but now she has turned into a business maven. She, in the past 2 years, looked at her scenario, crafted her money goals. She used to be a part of that show, Love and Hip Hop. I didn't really watch that Ratchet show as much because I'm not really a reality show watcher, unless it has to do with like Queer Eye or something where someone's transforming a home. But she was on Love and Hip Hop for a while, and she worked full time and she was recording songs. She tried to have a hit single, but as you know, when you work for a reality show, you are constantly on film. You do not have time to have the creative process. It's about a hot mess. I don't know if you've seen The Bachelor, or The Bachelorette, or you've seen that show Unreal. Now I have seen that show, and I know that it is ratchet when it comes to reality TV. You don't have any time. You can't make any decisions, okay? You have to obey the whims of the producers, okay? So she was on this Love and Hip Hop show. She worked full time. She's trying to record these songs, trying to get that hit single. But she was not maximizing her social capital. She actually quit the reality show. She did throw a shoe at somebody, which I don't agree with, but she focused solely on her music career. So you might actually be feeling the same way. You might say, hey, I have a crazy work ethic, but you know what? I'm tied to this job. Or you might be thinking, hey, I have a really good work ethic. How can that benefit me in the long run? These are really important skills that you should think about because you are very valuable, okay? Cardi B is valuable. You're valuable. Women are valuable in general, all right? So another tip that I learned, or I've been paying attention to, you may have as well, is that this woman talks about Social Security more than I mean, she probably talks about it the same amount as the person that is in administration right now. So far, she's the only rapper that I've read about and I've seen talk about paying her taxes, y'all. So she actually, I believe Future did have a song where he said that something's a liability, but that's as much as tax talk that you're going to get in rap. So she was going on these crazy rants on Instagram and was talking about how she has to pay so much taxes and how come those Social Security taxes aren't benefiting people and how come people are starving. In that, actually, her rants caught wave through Senator Bernie Sanders' team. Senator Bernie Sanders and Cardi B were creating this thoughtful buzz. It was on TMZ. That's how I found out about it. They were talking about Social Security. I thought it was a really interesting thing. I was at home with my mother and realizing that Cardi B could create a political conversation around paying taxes and around how can we actually help people. And if I'm spending all this money on Social Security and I'm not benefiting from it or people aren't benefiting for it, why am I paying for them? So I thought that was a great piece of advice. Now, you may not be woo-woo, but I would say this is probably the most woo-woo out of all of them. Cardi, Miss B, talks about her numbers. Now, some people might get really annoyed with or do not like to talk about budgeting or don't like to talk about knowing their numbers. But it is important for you to understand your numbers and know where you're going to achieve your financial freedom, your financial goals. Knowing where your money goes is actually good for your mental health. If you know how to spend your money on yoga or you have to spend money on really good food, knowing those numbers and how much it costs is really important. So in a recent interview, Cardi revealed how much she had to invest to perform at Coachella. So everybody knows what Coachella is. It's like I'm talking to a millennial audience, but she made $70,000 a day for her performance. Now for us, we're like, what? That is amazing. We're so proud of her. But she actually realized that she had to protect her team and make sure that they were fed, they were paid for. So she ended up paying 3 times as much to make sure that her team and her crew was protected. And she talked about this in an article, or actually on a radio show. And I think that we as women should be open with our money, okay? If this woman's already moving in the right direction, she realized that Coachella is the #1 music festival in the world. She invested in her brand. Knowing your numbers, getting really clear, being very honest about where you are is really important. And I know you might be really excited to talk about your numbers. You might be kind of nervous. Sometimes when I talk about my numbers even with my partner, we go on these money dates and we also go on wine Wednesdays. We have wine Wednesdays. That's actually on my Instagram. We're starting to do these wine Wednesdays where I film myself drinking wine and talking about money. And, you know what? It's important to know your numbers, even if that does mean that you have to drink a glass of wine. Sometimes I have to do yoga right before I do it. Sometimes I have to literally get into flow before I deal with my cash flow. All right. So my favorite part about Cardi B is that she talks about how you need to have a financial planner, y'all. Okay. Whew. This is something that's really exciting for me because I'm on this grad school grind. But y'all, she got a financial planner. She recently got into beef with this Instagram or Twitter. Yes, this Twitter influencer. I didn't know there was I didn't know that Twitter can be influenced. But yes, you can be an influencer on Twitter. She got in this argument. This woman, she was a little ratchet. She was talking about how Cardi B was spending all this money on her man. Okay? Cardi flipped out. She lost it and she was arguing back and forth, saying a lot of explicits. And she was like, look, I put my money where my mouth is. I got a mad work ethic. I pay all my bills. I can pay for my man's car. Okay. She said that she talks to her financial planner. It's the only person I've ever heard talk about having a financial planner. Ever. 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 All right. So you might be thinking, why is Cardi B a good money motivator? Because there's so much power to her rags to riches story. Cardi B left an abusive relationship when she was younger to strip. And she stripped right by her school. This is crazy. I didn't know that, but she stripped right by her school. So from stripping to rapping, this woman has worked nonstop from 5. So regardless if you agree with her ethics, there are many women that are trapped in relationships or jobs that they don't want to be in, and they feel as if there's no way out. So Cardi is actually very aware of the influence that she has on women, and I think that's the most powerful thing. Sometimes she could go a little off, but she's well aware of the influence that she has on women. So the biggest question is, what if all women reclaim their money stories like Cardi? What if she looked at her financial situation and victimized herself? She didn't. So what would it look like if we did that? What would it look like if we looked at our money stories? We said, hey, here are some not so good parts. Here are some strengths. Here are some areas of growth. How can I make my story? How can I make those money moves? Okay. So you might be thinking, girl, look, I like Cardi B, or I don't like Cardi B, but I really, really don't know how talking about Cardi B is going to activate my money story. I don't have that much money. I'm struggling. All right. I just bought this new bag. I'm trying to buy this avocado toast, y'all. It's $4. I just can't activate my own money story. Well, the good news is we're going to get in the flow and we're going to talk about how we can activate our money moves. And for some of you who have listened to the other podcasts, this is pretty much a repeat. Okay, this advice is a repeat. Why am I repeating myself? Okay, repetition is key. Anytime you talk about money, anytime you talk about changing a habit, sometimes you got to repeat yourself over and over. Our money moves that we're going to talk about, okay? Number 1, y'all need to get a financial BFF, okay? You know why? Because they're the best. That's my Shakira, right? So financial best friends forever are the best, okay? I've said this multiple times. Do you have a business? Do you have a job? Do you have a man or a woman? Do you have something? If you have something, you probably need a financial BFF, okay? You're not living under the ground. You're listening to my podcast. You're probably on Stitcher. You're probably on, what's the other one? iTunes. You're probably on something, okay? What you need to know is that, listen, getting a financial best friend might take some time. But once you nail that down, that is important. You're probably thinking, Eugene, what type of financial best friend should I have? Who should I be speaking to? Where should I go with this? What are the options, okay? I always recommend having someone that is a lawyer, all right? I know you're thinking, girl, I don't have no lawyer money. I'm not trying to pay that. I get it. Look, lawyers get a bad rep because sometimes they charge for the hour and sometimes people think that they're shifty. But if you have a lawyer, that is really important. It may be as simple as requesting a consultation, which is 99% free, okay? Having a lawyer helps you build rapport with someone who is a professional. There will always be emergencies, and having a lawyer can ease up any legal issue that pops up, okay? I'm going to tell you 2 stories. One story is personal, and the other story is just a real life example of why having a lawyer is so important. So, I became an entrepreneur a couple years ago, and for some of you that are in this journey, it could be a very challenging trial and tribulation, and sometimes it could be this amazing life where you are just thriving. But like anything, like a job, there's constant up and downs. So when I had my entrepreneur slump about a year and a half ago, I decided to work for a job, which, well, I'm not going to mention it. I never really mention it, but the job that I had, I tried to go back to a full time job. The job that I had was terrible. I was not my best self. All right. I not only was I not my best self, but my body was out of feng shui. There was no feng shui in my body. Okay. I kept getting sick. I couldn't tell you how many UTIs I have. If y'all don't know what a UTI is, that's a UTI. I think I got 4 UTIs in 1 year, which is absolutely crazy and a little bit disgusting. I was trying everything: yogurt, apple cider vinegar. I was trying some crystals, y'all. I'm playing. I don't want to try no crystals, girl. But I was trying a lot of things. And when they laid me off, I actually had, I think I read the doctor's note recently. I had BV, I had pink eye, and I also had BV, pink eye, and I had something else. I think I had a bladder infection. I was toe up. Basically, the whole, my whole body, my heart, mind, and soul was completely a mess. And they laid me off. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was not the best employee. I'm gonna be purely honest. I was not, because I was kind of an entrepreneur, which meant that I was kind of a dick sometimes. And yeah, so they fired me. But when they fired me, I actually was sick. Now, if I had if I had disability insurance at the time, I probably would have been able to get a lawyer, and that entire thing would have been squashed. I could have gotten my full time pay. For some reason, I just was like, no, this is my fault. I need to own it. But almost 2 years later, I realized that, oh no, wait, no, this isn't entirely my fault. I could actually, if I had a lawyer, I could have sued them. But honestly, I was not thinking. Another tip: we've moved away from the BFF. This is where we need to channel in our millennial woo, and this is where we need to talk about what matters most. Okay, when you're thinking about your money, you need to have a forgiveness party. Okay, I have 2 favorite podcasts. One is Black Girls in Ohm, and the other one is That's So Retrograde. And both of them always talk about how you need to forgive yourself, how you need to be open with that. Sometimes that seems so woo woo. You're like, no, I'm not trying to get into that. But this is what you got to do. You got to write a letter to yourself. You got to write a money story. You got to write something that has to do with how you feel about money. You got to treat money like a person. Okay. There's actually been studies done by, I think it was Oxford, that specifically says that we actually treat money like a person. We treat them like a person. So you need to sit down and write out your feelings towards money. Okay. Were you treating your money like a side hoe? Or were you treating your money like, I don't know, Gabrielle Union? I'm trying to think of someone else who's like amazing and beautiful. I don't know, Chris Pratt. Let me think about somebody else. I'm thinking about Jed Jackson, y'all. That he used to be so beautiful to me. And rest in peace. But yeah, I used to think that man was so beautiful. You need to start treating your money like a beautiful person. Okay, like a beautiful baby person. I don't know. You need to start thinking about that. So having a forgiveness party is a start. You gotta write that letter. You gotta talk about that person. Y'all, I'm just, I feel a spirit. Okay. Now you might be thinking, who am I gonna have this forgiveness party? You can light yourself a candle. You can light yourself some incense, or you can get a group of people and actually write. Y'all, I'm feeling it. If you want to have more conversations like these, you can head over to the Money and Flow podcast Facebook group, all right? Or you could talk to us, Money and Flow pod. I don't know why I had to do a little drop, but that's what I felt like. Okay, y'all. Now, we're going to move on. this is what you need to do, okay? This is a money reflection piece. You got to write out that job reflection. Everybody knows that updating your resume is great, okay? But writing that job reflection is better. It doesn't matter if you're a business, a server, a ventriloquist. All we do is acquire skills every single day, be it in conflict management, be it in coding. We forget simple things as learning how to send an autoresponder via email or learning how to meal prep. Every single thing that we do, all we're doing is building a better person. Now, I'm not saying every trait, but listen, you are valuable, and sometimes you got to write that down, okay? You got to write down why you're valuable. And writing a job reflection or writing a me of reflection is one part to start activating the money moves, y'all. Here's what you got to have. You got to get that money book club, y'all. Money book clubs enhance your community. They enhance your money conversation. You can even talk about yoga, whatever it is. We got to talk about these money lessons. You have to. You got to talk to someone about it. Starting a money book club helps you enhance your money muscles, y'all. So if you already belong to a book club, which some of us do, okay? Some of us would never read the book Twilight unless someone else recommended that damn book, because that's a terrible book. All right? If you have a book club, just pop it up. Or what if you're like, money book clubs are non-existent in my community? I get it. You can hop onto our Facebook group. We talk about book clubs. Right now, I actually am hosting a Money and Flow book club with one Teach for America at the Teach for America offices. And we're actually reading The Broken Beautiful Life by Stephanie O'Connell. And there's also this great, I think it's the Wall Street Journal, has a book club called The Color of Money. And their last book that they read was Crazy Rich Asians, which became a movie. Okay? So that's all my advice that I have to give. Okay? We talked about Cardi B. Okay? We talked about making the money moves. We talked about you. We talked about my money woes. What's it going to take for you to go out there, make those money moves, feel happy, get in the flow, and find your own mental wellness? That's all I'm saying. Hey, it's me again. I know you enjoyed this conversation, and I would love if you hop over to our Instagram page. It's Money and Flow Pod, at Money and Flow Pod. You can also check me out personally, which is Eugene_George. That's Eugenie the Weenie. Eugenie George _George. If you'd like to talk a little bit more about books, guess what? We have a Facebook group called the Money and Flow Facebook group that you can hop over and talk with us there as well. It's been a pleasure. I hope you're thinking about how you can namaste your funds, your flow, and your money.